you doing there, folks? Here's a fun fact for you. I actually generally like Disney, and I really like Star Wars. So to not like The Last Jedi makes me, a grown-ass adult person, want to sob like a toddler who just got hit in the face with a frisbee. With that said, if you haven't seen The Last Jedi, be warned there are spoilers in this video. So don't watch any further if you haven't seen it. Tune out. Tune out right now! For those of you who are still here, who are still with me, you know that spoiling this movie really wouldn't have been all that bad for those people. Might have even saved them $10, as it's just a piece of shit. However, if we're gonna be flushing the Star Wars franchise down the toilet, then we thought, why not do it in style, right? Now, if you're like me and you thought they made this movie bad, well, guess what? I'm gonna show you 7 ways we could have made it worse. At number 7, add a bunch more crazy force powers we've never heard of. The first major issue that I've seen people have with this movie, including myself, is that there were too many new force powers people have never heard of, and it just started to make the whole fucking universe seem ridiculous. I know we're talking about a universe where people do magic with lightning sticks in space, but it still, to me, seemed a little ridiculous. I mean, from Luke being able to force project himself across the fucking universe to Leia being able to Superman through outer space. It just got absurd. Now, if you do want to throw the lore right out the window, why not give Rey some Wolverine claws and have her stabbing First Order bitches in the chest throughout the film? At least that would have been like, wow, she's a feisty Mary Sue, isn't she? They gave Leia Superman powers out of nowhere. She can survive the vacuum of space like she's a fucking planet. I say, why stop there, though? When she's sucked into the vacuum of space, why not have her fucking plow through the First Order destroyer like a demigod and shoot lightning from her asshole? Those are all cool superpowers, too, that we've never seen before. And they could really destroy this universe no problem. Better yet, why not have her force project herself masturbating on Snoke's dead corpse just for shits and gigs? Because why not, right? I say go big or go home, and although they've already ruined the whole lore of Star Wars with this movie, The Last Jedi, why not just make a fucking mess of it? At number 6, make Rey an even bigger Mary Sue. Now, everyone was mad that Rey was a Mary Sue in this movie. Now, if you don't know what a Mary Sue is, it's when you create a seemingly perfect character who has no conflict, no resolution, and really doesn't need to evolve as a character in any way, shape, or form. This is usually affiliated with bad writing, and usually doesn't make it through the editing process, especially in big-budget films. People generally only care about characters that feel real, and in order for them to feel real, they must grow or evolve in some way. But no, not Rey. No. In the span of a week, she's able to become the most powerful Force user in the galaxy. She's the best with a lightsaber, she's a great pilot, and actually she dresses pretty stylish too. And if you gave her a basketball right now, without any formal training, she could dunk on Jordan in his prime and make him cry like a bitch. But we say, why stop there? It's clear you're not going to give her a backstory and explain her powers. It's obvious she's just a personification of instant gratification, so why not take it a step further? I mean, if we're destroying the franchise, let's fucking blow it up. Why not just make her a giant omnipotent vagina that shoots lightning from her whispering eye? Training? What training? As soon as we meet Rey, this sentient genitalia from the planet Fucked, she just kills off all the male Force users in the galaxy with one Force vagina push. She even has a special power where she can suck people into her vagina, and when they come out, they're completely insignificant and unlikable. Again, Rey is this character I just couldn't give a fuck about, because she's not real. She doesn't even face any real turmoil or conflict and is seemingly invincible in this universe. I really couldn't care less whether she's a female or male, as I could easily root for a character from any walk of life, as long as they fit the lore and build-up of the universe. Justify her powers with some training, and I would have been on board. Have her learn something useful from Luke Skywalker, and I would have been on board. But at every turn, the filmmakers just chose to make her infallible in every way. Making her a giant, powerful vagina may be an exaggeration, but in a lot of ways, she already is. She just doesn't look like a giant, powerful vagina. At number 5, let's make more irrelevant characters. We need more of them. There wasn't enough in this movie. We need more irrelevant characters. That's how we really fuck this movie up. Oh yeah. Oh, we just need to introduce more irrelevant characters to push a political narrative no moviegoer could give a fuck about. Let's make sure we have a whole subplot around every single age, race, religion, gender, and shoe size just so nobody feels left out. Maybe along with that casino scene, we could have had another 45-minute scene where we just followed around Vikram, the gender-confused asexual platypussy, who's just looking for a safe place to express its feelings. Listen, I'm all for equality, and I could care less about the gender, race, religion, age, or anything else about the main characters, as long as they further the plot and not serve to push some bullshit social agenda. I watch movies to be entertained, not to think about politics. I'm not even a political person. So when it's shoved down my face in a Star Wars movie for fucking seemingly forever in a 3-hour fucking movie by a hypocritical capitalist corporation, I get a little salty. Honestly, why stop with Finn and Rose and their bullshit subplot? Why not just stop the movie every 15 minutes and have social justice words come up on the screen and have a cameo from irrelevant actors and actresses explaining why we as an audience need to be aware of inequality? Honestly, a big part of me did sit up at night wondering whether I could include this complaint in this video because I was afraid that I would be labeled as a sexist or conservative because politics have polarized everyone lately. If it's a political movie, then fine, have a political theme. I honestly don't care who you cast as your characters, and I could honestly give a fuck that white men are villainized throughout this entire movie. That men in general are demasculinized in this film. I could give a fuck. What I care about is, are the characters interesting and do they matter to further the plot of the story? The answer to half of the characters in this film is no. No, they do not. Write the characters to make sense. That's all I ask. Don't just create a character and focus on them because you have to be inclusive or you have some social agenda. Like, what the fuck kind of ass-backwards writing is that? At number 4, we need to add bigger and better plot holes. That's what this movie needs to make it even worse. Bigger and better plot holes. I mean, this film is littered with plot holes. Like, why did Luke make a map? How do bombs fall in space? Why is that purple-haired lady even in the fucking film? How can Finn and Rose escape the Star Destroyer but nobody else can? How does Rey have powers? And so much more. However, for the most part, these plot holes individually don't completely destroy the movie. It's only because there's a billion of them that the movie's hurting. But we can fix that. Why not just give this movie one giant plot hole that just serves as a fuck you to the audience? Why not have the Guardians of the Galaxy show up halfway through the film and save the day? Then we could include some Jedis in the next Infinity Wars movie and really blow up this cash cow. Better yet, have some Star Trek characters in the film. Mix up the two universes so fanboys don't know what to fucking think anymore. Have the SS Enterprise blow up Snoke's ship and then just jettison out of there like nothing happened. Honestly, that wouldn't have even been that much of a stretch in this film, as they were trying so hard to surprise you. It was disastrous to the overall plot. I put plot in like fucking asterisks. I did that little hand bunny thing because there is no fucking plot to this story. The characters have not changed at all from The Force Awakens. From the start of this movie to the end, they're the exact same. There is no character arc. There is no plot. All the characters are pointless. This movie's pointless. At number 3, we need to add an absolutely terrible backstory for Rey and Snoke. Now, people were pissed that Snoke and Rey either didn't have a backstory at all explaining their presence on screen, or that it was so unimaginative and bland, it just made you want to hit a fucking baby porg right in the nipple. Snoke, this semi-omnipotent badass with infinite potential, was given no backstory at all and killed off like that fucking youngling who thought Anakin was the good guy in Revenge of the Sith. This is truly a disappointing turn of events and is honestly just wasteful. Snoke had so much potential as a character. Oh well. I think we could make his story even worse. Now, the other gripe that people had was that Rey's parents were nobody. She was nobody. The most underwhelming reveal in cinematic history. It's amazing. But we can one-up both of these reveals. Now, for Snoke, for instance, rather than giving him no background at all, why not just give him a fucking super ridiculous background? Let's make him a Mary Sue, just like Rey. Like, he just learned the Force last Wednesday, and by Thursday, he was taking over the galaxy. And he had Luke in hiding by the end of the weekend. Snoke is actually just like this crusty old man who got bored one day of daytime soap operas and decided to try his hands at being a dark overlord. He was pretty good at it too, I guess, but like most old decaying bodies, his spatial awareness needed some work, which is why Kylo could rattle a lightsaber next to him for 5 minutes and it didn't raise any red flags. As for Rey's parents, why not actually give her significant parents? You know, significant parents that have nothing to do with the Star Wars universe. What if her father was Liam Neeson from Taken? You know, he's still out there somewhere in the universe looking for her, pissed? That would be amazing. And her mother was a washing machine that became sentient and self-aware. Just fucking pointless. This would have been an absolutely awful reveal, and again, wasn't much worse than what we were actually given, but still a bit of a one-up. Now, I get what Disney was trying to say with Rey not having significant parents, that anyone can be a Jedi. However, this was not only already part of the lore, but was actually the fucking theme of the Jedi religion, as it was again their code to not have romantic relationships, meaning most Jedis don't have kids. So most Jedi were just Force-sensitive beings found throughout the universe. One of my favorite characters was actually from the Clone Wars cartoon version of it, was Ahsoka, who was a female alien from a pacifist race who became a Jedi, and she's fucking awesome. Loved her. She was Anakin's Padawan. The reason why Rey's lineage matters is because A, it was hinted at hard as fuck in The Force Awakens, B, she is the biggest Mary Sue character I've ever seen, and C, that would have just been good storytelling. Now we're left with this nobody Mary Sue and everyone's favorite angry teenager, Kylo Ren. Yay, I couldn't give a fuck about the next movie. At number 2, we gotta make Luke Skywalker more unlikable. More unlikable. Let's really demolish this beloved character. Let's just destroy him. Destroy everything that George Lucas created with this character. Let's just demolish him. Fuck it. Let's just demolish him. Who cares, right? It's not like so many people grew up admiring this character. You know, let's just get rid of him. This movie already did an amazing job making Luke Skywalker out to be a bitch and an unlikable character, even from the start. Even though Mark Hamill was 90% of the reason anyone showed up to this fucking film, they still made him out to be a piece of shit. Luke was made out to be a coward who ran away from his problems. He was a conflicted mentor who didn't even know the right path himself, even though he was supposed to be a fucking legend. He was bested in a stick battle by a girl who just learned the Force last week, and he died like a fart in the wind, which did nothing to further his plot. It's honestly hard to make Luke's character any shittier than this film already portrayed him, but I think I have a way that we could have just devastated this character completely. It was back when he milks the tits of that perverted alien seahorse and then looks Rey in the eye with this vindictive gaze as he guzzles down that nut juice. Why stop there, I say? Why stop there? Why not make him fuck that funky alien cow creature while he stares down at Rey? Better yet, why not get Rey to hold his beer while he does it? Then, when he's done impregnating that alien wildebeest, have him run off into the woods like a crazy old man screaming nonsense like Yoda ate my babies over and over again. When Rey finds him all curled up in the fetal position, covered in alien semen, he just looks up at her and he says, "I did it all for the money." That should about kill off any semblance of Luke Skywalker anyone ever had, right? The way this movie handled Luke Skywalker is by far the biggest travesty of all. But as you can see, we can still one-up it. Just barely, but we can still do it. And at number 1, try to surprise us more, okay? Everyone likes a good surprise. Let's surprise us more. Just give us more surprises. That's what we need. The biggest overall criticism, other than Luke Skywalker, is that this film does its very best to just fool the audience, regardless of how it affects the overarching story, or character development, or even how it impedes on both of these characteristics to the point where they're just non-existent. It's like every time you think something is about to happen, the writer or whoever just stops everything and says, "Fooled ya! Rey is gonna go to the dark side. Nope, fooled ya! Kylo is gonna go to the good side. Nope, fooled ya! Rey's parents are important. Nope, fooled ya! Finn's going to die. Nope, fooled ya! Luke is going to show up and be a hero. Nope, fooled ya! Leia is going to die in outer space. Nope, fooled ya! Finn and Rose are going to save the day. say, nope, fooled ya. This is just a few of the fooled ya moments in this film. Like, every scene is a fooled ya moment. It's just exhausting and pointless. The writers here want it so bad to have that Luke, I am your father moment that they just littered this movie with utter bullshit just to surprise people, losing the very value of what it means to have a good surprise in a movie. The Empire worked because it was a revealing moment that everyone was like, wow, what a twist. It didn't take away from the narrative, it actually supported it and made it more interesting. It's like someone putting chocolate sprinkles on your ice cream without you knowing. You'd be like, oh, what a pleasant surprise. It's unexpected, but it only serves to make the narrative better. The writing in this movie is like getting an ice cream cone back only to have someone's dick imprint smushed into your chocolate swirls. Chances are you're not going to enjoy that ice cream. There's a very good chance you're going to put that ice cream in the trash can, just like this fucking film. The only way to make this any worse and add an even worse fooled you moment is if at the very end someone wakes up and they're like, oh, it was just a dream. You know what I mean? This whole movie was a dream sequence. Fooled ya! You know? That's the only way it could have been worse. The biggest problem with this writing is that the writer actually had 2 or more great opportunities to have real fooled ya moments, if you will, that could have really resonated with the audience and furthered the narrative of the story. Those being Snoke's backstory, Rey's lineage, and also Finn's backstory. Any one of those could have mind-fucked us into bliss, but no, instead, we get Leia surviving the vacuum of space and Luke being a pussy. I can honestly say I didn't expect it, but because it was just bad storytelling. Anyways, well, that's the end of this list there, folks, and it's the end of my rant. Apologies if you actually did enjoy this film. You probably didn't watch it this far if you did enjoy this film. This film was actually a visual masterpiece. It was one of the most magnificent looking films I have ever seen. However, the plot, the story, the characters, all of that took away from it to the point where you just could not ignore it. It was just awful. It was awful storytelling. But as far as like an actual movie, like the visuals and stuff, if you weren't a Star Wars fan, I'm sure you would enjoy this film. However, as a fan of the Star Wars lore, I was heartbroken by the disrespect this film showed its fans and its universe. The most fucked up thing about this situation is that Disney bought Star Wars for billions of dollars hoping to make a return on their investment, because Star Wars has one of the largest fan bases in the world. The problem with that is if you alienate the fan base by destroying their heroes and telling a fucking ridiculous story, then you'll be left with a bunch of wizards in space that don't fill seats. It's crazy to think that a company that large could be that myopic when it comes to creating entertaining movies for its fans. If you want to cast a diverse cast in Star Wars, I support that 1,000,000%. If you want to create new characters and make them interesting and unique, I also support that 1,000,000%. However, if you want to destroy already established characters or write a terrible movie, disregard rules already set in place, and push a political or social agenda, then you've lost me as a fan. I am an escapist, and when I go to the movies or I play a video game, I want to escape this world and learn about something new, fascinating, and entertaining. If my favorite character when I was a kid was Edmond Dantes, I don't want to see a sequel of his story that has him ending up as a pedophile. Because even though I could just not watch that film again, it would still deconstruct the value of that fictional character to me and his fictional significance to me. Leave politics to politicians and make storytelling your objective. Fuck. That's your job. You're an entertainment company. Good God. Note that if you did enjoy The Last Jedi, then that's okay. Everyone has a right to their opinion. However, this film alone has turned me off of the franchise as a whole, and I can honestly say I have no interest in seeing any future Star Wars films or playing any future Star Wars games. I am generally not a cynical person. If you're not new to this channel, you'll notice that almost all of the reviews that we put on here are positive. I've never written a negative comment on anyone's YouTube channel. I've never posted a negative review on a blog, on my Facebook, on anything, because I'm just generally not cynical. I can see the optimism in anything. But this film was so poorly written, I just couldn't ignore it. There's no redeeming qualities you can put in the 9th film that will get rid of this fucking travesty for me. Remember though, guys, I'm just one ticket. All right, so there's a good chance that Disney doesn't give a fuck. They're not going to lose any sleep over me not going to their next film or not buying their next game. Make up your own mind on this film, okay, guys? I'm not telling you whether to like or not like it, all right? Watch it. If you like it, fine, okay? I don't want to take away from it. Hopefully you had some giggles at this, but I'm not trying to take away from your enjoyment of the films. If you do like the direction that they're taking the films, then I'm happy for you. However, I'm going to sit on the sidelines. I no longer want to be involved in perpetuating this Star Wars fantasy because it's just not for me anymore. I just think it's ridiculous. Anyways, that's it.